Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to IBMF's VetNet webinars. My name is Elvis, and IBMF is happy to partner with HHUSA again to host another VetNet session. And this time is on how to ace the application process and land the interview, right? As all of you may know, or some of you may not know, July 25th is recognized as Hire Veteran Day. So if you're a veteran, let's try to get you hired. If you're an employer, let's see if you can guys hire a veteran, right? Today on our panel of guests, we have employers from OSC Edge, Apex Systems, and Home Depot, hopefully. So just like I said, my name is Elvis. I work here at IBMF as a post-program support service advisor, along with our alumni service manager, Ashley Cavender, and we always try to help our program graduates, and that consists of bringing these VetNet webinars at least twice a month. And we definitely good. If you have any different topics about what would you like to see in the future, please let us know. And I'm happy to introduce today John Siren, who is an employer recruiter and also recruiter specialist at the HHUSA, and he'll be moderating our webinar. But before we get started, just some ground rules. If you're not speaking, please make sure your microphone is muted so the audio comes out clear. And just let everyone know, if you have registered for this session, you will receive a follow-up email with short 2-minute survey and recording of this webinar. So please take a survey, let us know how we did and what other future topics you would like to see. That being said, John, welcome.
Thanks, Elvis. So good afternoon to some folks, and then good morning to some others. So I want to just talk a little bit about myself, a little bit about my background. So I'm an employer engagement specialist with Hire Heroes USA. Been with Hire Heroes USA for approximately 6.5 years at this point. Prior to that, I was a combat infantryman in the Army. I got medically retired in 2013. So Lynn and Caitlin, would you like to just kind of do a quick introduction of yourselves?
Do you want me to go first, Caitlin?
Sure thing. Go ahead.
So I am Lynn Schneider. I am with OSC Edge, and we are a woman-owned small business in the federal space. So pretty much 100% of all our contracts are in the federal space. And I've been with the company about going on 3 years. But I've been recruiting for probably about a good, I think it's about 6 years now. You can go ahead, Caitlin.
Sure thing. Hi, everyone. My name is Caitlin Westbrook. I am Apex Systems National STEM Advocate. Apex is a technology and science focused IT staffing firm. And what I do is essentially spearhead relationships with our STEM focused nonprofit and veterans program partners by providing access to tools and resources through Apex that will hopefully increase overall employability. So really happy and excited to be here.
Thanks, Caitlin. Thanks, Lynn. So we'll go ahead and get started here. My first question, I'll go ahead and give this to Caitlin since you're already on the screen there. What is the application process with your company like? And does your company utilize an applicant tracking system? If so, how stringent are those parameters?
Yep. So most every staffing firm, anytime you apply online, there is going to be an applicant tracking system. So what we like to do as far as getting you in the system is we have a job board online that you can apply to any opportunity that you see. We suggest any position that you find yourself a 60 to 70% match, we encourage you to apply. And at that point, you would be in our system to be able to match to opportunities that we have available. And then our recruiters would be able to reach out to you But on the flip side, a lot of our job postings, they have the recruiter's contact information. So we also encourage you to reach out directly. When you apply online, find a point of contact so that you can be connected with someone to that opportunity or that company that can connect you to the right person to really get the ball rolling.
Awesome. Thank you, Caitlin. Lynn, how about OSC Edge?
So yes, OSC Edge, we do have an applicant tracking system. We are specific to the federal space. So one of the first questions they'll ask is if you have a clearance. And if you pretty much don't have a clearance, you can't go further into, unfortunately, in our system. But we do have a couple of jobs where you do not need a clearance. Like right now, we're looking for a federal proposal technical writer. So that person does not have to have it so they can get through the system. So unfortunately, I always consider myself the high maintenance recruiter because it seems like we have to have so many things with clearance and certifications. So it kind of knocks out quite a few candidates. But if you do get in, and even though you do not qualify for the job at the time, we keep your record. So when another position opens up, we can track you and, you know, get into contact with you if you meet the criteria.
Awesome. Thank you, Lynn. Thanks, Caitlin. Kind of on to the next question. When reviewing veteran applications, have you noticed any common issues or barriers that make them less likely to be interviewed than their civilian counterparts? And what can they do differently in the application to be selected for the interview? Go ahead, Caitlin.
I would say that the biggest thing would be to be careful of jargon and using those more technical words within just the military realm, because a lot of recruiters, really anybody that's looking at your resume, is more than likely not going to be, or they're either going to be non-technical or not savvy to all of either those acronyms or really anything else. So a lot of times you want to be very careful of that. But otherwise, it's pretty similar.
Yeah. Lynn?
Just having them have their information right up front, you know, if they have clearance, if it's still activated, if they had it at one time when it became deactivated, because sometimes we can save somebody's clearance within 2 years, you know, information like that. And certifications, making sure your certifications are still active. A lot of people will say they have a CCNA, and then when I speak to them, I find out, oh, they just took a class. They never actually got the certification. So to be a little bit more specific if they have those certs or not, that really helps.
Would you recommend having them list their certification number on the resume as well then, or?
Yes, that does help. It really does help, but also we have to check those anyway to make sure they're not expired. But yeah, just listing their certs, the year that they got it, we pretty much can tell within 3 years it expires, unfortunately. And so we kind of can figure out that way too when they got it.
Now, how stringent are both of your companies' tracking systems as far as utilizing keywords or kicking back resumes for any manner?
So there's really no kickback in our system, as we have a variety of opportunities available, both cleared, uncleared, within many different skill sets and everything else. So it really, your resume is going to depend where the ranking it comes in is what is really going to set you apart from the potential 100 others that have also applied to that opportunity. And that's where that applicant tracking system comes in. Is it's not only just to view the resumes and keep them organized, it's actually ranking you. So if you want your resume to be in that top percentile, you're going to need to tailor your resume to capture those buzz or keywords that you're finding within the job description so that you can land higher on or within the candidate pool.
Yeah, and I always recommend everyone that you take the job, the job posting itself, copy and paste it into a site called Wordle or Word Counter. It will tell you exactly how many times a keyword has been utilized in that job posting, and we want to make sure that, you know, if the employer is utilizing that keyword multiple times, 5, 6, 7 times, it's probably a good idea that you make sure that you're mentioning that in your resume at some place at some point. Just making sure that you're utilizing those same keywords like Caitlin just mentioned to get you higher on that list. Okay, we'll go ahead and Lynn, does your application process include an assessment that evaluates their sense of ethics, leadership, or personality? Any kind of questionnaires like that? And if so, what tips can you give for best demonstrating who they are as a person or candidate?
Yeah, we don't really have anything like that.
Okay.
Because we when we win the contracts, you know, we're the prime on the contracts. So ours are IT specific and cyber and engineers. So like different from Caitlin, boy, I wish I can get 100 applicants. I'm lucky if I get 5 for one of our jobs. So we're a little different, and we do look for leadership, of course, you know, in the hiring process. That is always key for someone to have leadership skills and whatever. But unfortunately for us, we're looking for the clearances and certifications for the jobs we have, because we're specific to IT and cyber.
Okay. Caitlin, would you do you have any kind of questionnaire that is like a personality test of some sort?
We do not, although our recruiters are essentially trained to be able to identify those effective communicators. They're trained to identify and be able to kind of like pull that information out to get a good feel of who that person is, what they can bring to the table, their personality traits and things like that. And that's all kind of gone over in that initial meet and greet that you have with a recruiter, is kind of getting all of that out of the way, your why, what you're looking to do, where you want to go, what you're interested in. So, but as far as like any sort of personality test, no. It's more of a verbal test, if you will.
Now, does the cover letters, how important are those? And can you, I guess, can a candidate better explain a little bit more who they are as a candidate in that cover letter, and how would they do so?
Well, for me, cover letters, they can help, but once again, we have to be specific to their clearance, education, and certifications. They could say whatever they want on those letters, but unfortunately, the way these contracts are coming across right now, they're getting more and more stringent with these certifications, even bypassing education. And a lot of times they just want those certifications. As a matter of fact, I sent to Elvis the 10 top certifications they're looking for right now. And I don't know when he's going to post that, maybe at the end or send it out, but you'll kind of see that in the IT space for clearances. So for people that are curious what certifications to get.
What do you think, Caitlin, as far as the cover letters is concerned? Do you think that candidates can a little better demonstrate who they are as a candidate through that cover letter, or do you think it's kind of a waste? What is your thoughts?
I think initially, maybe to a recruiter, it's valuable. To a hiring manager, I mean, we can obviously send that in with the submittal and attach it, and then the hiring manager can kind of be the judge as to whether they want to look at that, or like Lynn was saying, they just want to see the requirements a lot of times, to see if you would even be a match for that opportunity. So you can, but a lot of times you want to make sure that your resume is top notch so that you can get in that interview and kind of shine through and show who you are.
Okay, perfect. And then we'll go ahead and move on to the next question here. Does your company, we'll start off with Caitlin, does your company have a referral process, and what part does that play in the application?
We do have a referral bonus that we have for our current contractors. So if you are on contract with us and you refer friend, family member, anybody else for an opportunity within Apex, you are compensated. And that goes all around.
Perfect.
With us. Yes, that's great. Yeah, we definitely have a referral process. And right now, Caitlin and I were talking before this started about the labor shortage going on, and referrals are very, very key right now. And
So valuable.
I love the fact that we can, compensate the employees for referring somebody. It's a wonderful thing. So yeah, we have that as well.
Awesome. How long are your jobs posted, Lynn? And for how many applications do you receive in that time frame? And then how can the military community be sure to get their application in on time?
Well, as I said earlier, we have very specific IT, network, cyber engineering positions. We are trying to fill them within 60 days. But I could tell you right now, we have a position that's been open for 9 months because it's been this hard trying to find someone in Quantico, Virginia. And that's very, very unusual. But we try to get them within 60 days.
Okay. Caitlin?
So for us, more of our maybe uncleared and less technical, we try and have a 24 to 48 hour turnaround period to get any candidates, any of our openings submitted. But also to kind of bounce off of Lynn, the opportunities that we have that have much more strict requirements. I mean, we try and shoot our shot and send over options, but at the same time, we have had opportunities open for 6, 9, 12 months that are just essentially unfillable because of the strict requirements that are involved. So it really depends on the opportunity, depends on the client, and how, if we're able to have a candidate grow into the opportunity as well.
Yeah, and to jump back on what Caitlin said, it's unfortunate because when someone has like a CCNA certification and it expires and now it's retired, and so now it's a CCNA collaboration, it's a 2-part test and it takes a month to get. And I feel so bad for anyone applying, but we'll go to bat. We'll go to the government and we'll say, listen, can you let them start and give them 60 days, to get this? And you'll be surprised. Some of them will let us, but most of them aren't right now. They're getting more and more strict. I don't know, Caitlin, if you're experiencing that, but they're like, nope, they got to have it right when they start, which is unfortunate.
Well, and a lot of times they have a more flexible timeline, where when it's a more strict timeline, they're definitely more inclined to look at options because they're in need. Whereas when they just have an opening to fill and they're trying to find the purple squirrel unicorn that we can't just create out of thin air. And so we really try and do what we can, especially on our sales side, to be able to help individuals grow into opportunities that are seemingly unfillable.
I thought I only had the purple, unicorns.
No, they're
And just so you know,
search
John,
everywhere.
just so you know, because I'm in constant talks with my BD people, the business development and sales people, the ones that actually work on the contracts, I will go to them and say, you guys, please, when you are responding to these contracts now, you have to put in there, can this be remote? Like I'm starting like to push, from the very beginning. So by the time it gets awarded, it's going to make it easier because not everyone, most are wanting to work remote right now. Or we'll say, can they give them 60 days for that Cisco certification or AWS or cloud or whatever? So we built it in there. So if the government will allow that.
Awesome. Hey, Joseph, I saw your question there. We're going to get into a live Q&A where everyone's going to be able to ask questions directly to recruiters. So I'm just going to hold off on that question and we'll get back to that momentarily. One last question, I guess, for you both. Many candidates want to follow up on their application, but are unable to identify the recruiter, hiring manager for that specific role. Do you value follow-up from your applicants? If so, how do you suggest this candidates go about doing so? We'll start off with you, Lynn.
Go ahead, Caitlin.
Oh, well, I was going to say, one of our mottos is never, ever just rely on the apply. You always want to follow up and make a direct connection, especially when you're almost blindly going through just applying online. It makes all the difference. LinkedIn is a fantastic resource for all of you to be able to, I'm in Richmond, Virginia right now. You can go on LinkedIn and type in Richmond, Virginia recruiter, and it will pop up basically recruiters everywhere in your area. And even within companies, you could do any company name and recruiter. Somebody will probably pop up. There are lots and lots of ways to get connected, and LinkedIn is an excellent resource. But even our company website, we have 75 branches across the US, and there is a contact information for all of them. So there are so many ways to get connected. You just kind of have to search for them and find them.
Yeah, I definitely agree with Caitlin. LinkedIn is the way to go because she works with non-clearance folks as well. Because I'm specific to clearance, there's other job portals like Clearance Jobs, ClearJobs.net, you name it. There's quite a few of them out there that you can put your application in there as well, especially if you have those clearances and they're active. Because that's the first place I'm going to go to before LinkedIn because of that. LinkedIn, I can't always tell. Just so you know, supposedly, if you have secret clearance, you're not supposed to put that on your resume, which makes it harder for us to find. But if you're in Clearance Jobs, I know for sure you're already in there. But yeah, there's other ways that we can find you other than LinkedIn. But and Indeed's also a really good one, ZipRecruiter, all of those. But definitely LinkedIn.
Thanks, Lynn. And we have some questions coming over here from my current manager, Brianna. Why military and why military spouses? Why are you looking to hire these folks? Go ahead, Caitlin.
As a part of my position within Apex as the STEM advocate, we are building out a STEM program to incorporate our nonprofit and specifically veterans program partners. We want to we want to be a part of helping upskill and bring in this more or less underserved individuals for opportunities that we have available. We are super passionate, as well as just we're trying to build out programs to be more encompassing and facilitate the masses, meaning everyone. We want a diverse and inclusive environment and company, and to be able to provide that to our clients as well.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Kate.
we're doing the same thing too. I'm thinking, Caitlin, your company's probably been around longer and you're much bigger. We're a small business. When I started with this company 3 years ago, we were at 50 employees. 3 years later, we're at 175. So we actually have been talking about starting this program of getting soldiers that are transitioning out, letting them work as interns, training them, teaching them the certs that they need to get. So by the time they get out, we can put them in these jobs. We love what the veterans have done. And also we love the fact with their work ethic, they're the ones that show up on time, come in every day, hands down. When I see a veteran applying, I'm like, woohoo, this is going to be good because this person gets it and comes in every day and on time.
Awesome. And then we're going to go back, got a message from Elvis. We want to go back and answer kind of Joseph's question here. So he's retiring from Fort Benning. The Army's willing to relocate him. What is the best way to let the companies know that he's able to relocate to anywhere for the right position?
Well, does he have a LinkedIn account? He's got to put that willing to relocate. And I know in clearance jobs, that's one of the questions. Are you willing to relocate? And then there's the Soldiers in Transition program at Fort Benning. Oh, I'm sorry, that's Fort Gordon, but I know Fort Benning too. That's in Columbus. Because I'm out of Georgia. I'm pretty sure they have a Soldiers in Transition as well to get with them. But put that on the application. Definitely willing to relocate. That's key for us.
Okay. And what do you think, Caitlin? Do you think that you put it on the application as well? Do you put it on the resume?
No, both.
Application, resume, put it
Yeah.
everywhere. Everybody wants to know that you're willing to relocate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Big letters.
Yep. And that is, we have so many opportunities that are in specific locations and specific markets that if you have the right skill set and you are willing to relocate, that is honestly a value, especially to you. And if you ever get in touch with, if you are working with recruiters or really any company, you always want to make that known as well.
Okay.
Also make it known I'm sorry, John. I was going to say, make it also known if you're willing to go CONUS and OCONUS. Do you have international contracts, Caitlin? I'm sure you do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so do we. So that is huge if you want to go OCONUS, especially right now.
One of the questions was, if you have a clearance in scope but not active, can you still apply for positions that require clearances?
Yes, like I said, if you're within 2 years and they'll allow us to sponsor you for our company. I don't know about Caitlin's company, if you're allowed to sponsor clearances or not. Every contract's different.
Yeah, it depends on the opportunity. Some we are able to sponsor you for, and even if it's not the right opportunity, even just putting yourself out there to get your clearance back active would probably be a good move. But at the same time, it really does depend on the opportunity.
Thank you. And looks like Costa has a question. Costa, would you mind unmuting and asking these ladies your question?
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you for all of you to come out here and help us get jobs and get better at what we do. Lynn and Caitlin, I guess this question, I am a cybersecurity professional and I am a veteran and I had a very high clearance. It's not active. So I find just as the question was just recently asked, I find that companies don't give you that message very well, or whether they're going to be able to help you or not. So you're in a catch-22 because they ask you, do you have a security clearance? They don't ask you if it's active or inactive. So you say no, because it's a very, you say no, and now you just put yourself out. So they don't actually say, did you have one before? So where you could say yes, and now they can go ahead. So I find that an issue, and I wish, I do want to get my clearance, and it's not active yet. It's been non-active for probably about 5 years. So the civilian side would have to pay money, and it comes out of the company. Is there any other way you know of that I could get a clearance, other than going directly to the government side?
Well, like Caitlin and I were saying, it depends on the contract if they allow us to let us sponsor your clearance. We have a contract in DC where they can have a public trust and we can sponsor their clearance. And if you're high enough, what certifications do you have?
Well, I just updated my skills, because I've been in cybersecurity for a long time, before even the word cybersecurity came out. So I'm getting recertified. I'm certified right now in I have my Security Plus and NCSP, which is it's not an official certification, but it's a 6-month cyber school that I went to.
So if you wanted to get a job with the DoD, federal space with the DoD, so there's like state agencies, federal agencies, with the DoD, it is specific to the 8570, DoD 8570. And for a cybersecurity person, a high level, they probably want you to have a level 2 or level 3. And that's a CAP. A level 3 is a CISSP. A level 1 is a Security Plus.
Okay, good. I'm glad, because I'm doing that with Syracuse right now, actually, my CISSP.
Oh my gosh, that's great. That's very hard to get. So I'm going to tell you something right now. You have your CISSP, if you get that, and you had clearance before, plus you have a cyber background, I know we were able to help certain individuals. We could sponsor their clearance.
You're awesome. Thank you. Thank you both. Thank you very much.
Now, I can't guarantee it, because things change, but we were able to do that before.
Awesome. Thank you.
I'm pretty positive through Apex, we are only able to sponsor for interim secrets. So we would only be able to sponsor you up to the secret level. And then if you were to go off contract and get hired permanently with that client, they would be able to continue to help you get back up to that higher level clearance as needed. But I'm 99% sure that we would only be able to get you to that secret clearance level.
Awesome. Thank you both. We have another question here. Where should you put willing to relocate on your LinkedIn profile? Where would you place that?
Yeah, right at the top. You're anybody. So any hiring manager, recruiter, anybody that's going to be looking at your LinkedIn profile, they're first going to look at your picture. So make sure it's a headshot. That is just preferred, or at least a quality photo of yourself. Next, they're going to go right to that tagline that's right underneath. That is basically either who you are, what you do, what your qualifications are, certifications. You can add all of that in there on that tagline. And And then after that, they're going to be looking not so much at the nitty gritty, but also at the extracurriculars, the what you're following, everything else. So they can see whether you are going to be more of a, not, if you're going into IT specifically, they're going to look to see if you're connected with any IT specific groups, any meetups, any things like that. So you're also going to all really want to emphasize extracurriculars and extra things that you've done within that space that can bring a value add to your online LinkedIn resume.
I'm not sure if you guys have seen LinkedIn recently, but they kind of, you can do this little color thing around your picture saying looking for work. In my case, I'm saying looking to hire. So that would, well, as soon as I see that, I contact that person right away. I mean, I don't contact them. I make sure they have the criteria, the skill sets and whatever. But I know they're looking for work right away. So that's good to put that on there if you're looking to want a job.
Thanks, Lynn. Thanks, Caitlin. Aside from the technical positions that require a definite, certifications, in general, would companies be willing to train up a candidate for any given position if they are strong on their soft skills like leadership, management, inventory, etc.?
It would honestly depend on our client and their specific needs. If it is more of like that entry level opportunity where they're not looking so much for specific skills, technology, experience, they would definitely be more inclined to bring on somebody that maybe doesn't have that, but has the right attitude, has the right willing to learn, and has even kind of going back even to your LinkedIn profile, are you involved in like a meetup group that does that specific thing? Or have you done any sort of like, have you looked up the specific technologies on Google? Are you familiar with it, but you have never had experience in it? I even getting my position today, I did so much Google research and watched so many YouTube videos to see how to give presentations, how public speaking, so many different things to show that I was willing to learn and wanted to learn. And here I am today. So that is, I would definitely recommend, if you don't have those specific skills, do your research and look into them and have that under your belt to be able to relay to any hiring managers that you speak to.
Yeah, I agree with Caitlin. Yeah, it's really, it depends on each contract if they'll allow us to train someone. We did have it a couple of times. It's actually better to get your foot in the door. And then once you're with the company a little bit, and I had one guy, oh my gosh, this guy got like 3 certifications within 1 year. He was a rock star. He was like only 24 years old. And then the next year he got his PMP certification. I couldn't believe it. And like you, he did his research, Googling, YouTube, you name it. He was doing everything to, work his way up. Great attitude.
Thank you both. Do you find that candidates can apply for too many positions that are open within your specific company? And if so, if they apply for more than one position, what is your stance on that, and how does that make the candidate appear?
Well, I'm good with it as long as they meet the certs and the criteria. That's happened with us. A couple of folks, they were applying for one, they didn't qualify, and then they applied for another one. As long as they meet the criteria, that's really all what we're looking for.
Okay.
Yeah.
Caitlin, are you the same way, or is there too many positions that one candidate can apply for?
Absolutely not. Apply away. But you are going to want to invest your time, especially like when you're tailoring your resume to specific opportunities. Are you going to want to do that 1,000 times? You're going to have your more basic resume, and then you're going to also have that living, breathing resume that you're going to want to tailor to those specific opportunities, and that you're going to want to actually invest your time in ensuring that you're not only qualified, but that you're also following up, and there's, to answer your question, no, apply away, but at the same time, you are going to want to invest some of your time in specific opportunities.
Thank you both. Claire sent over a question. Any tips or advice for spouses who have odd gaps or short work stints on their resume and are trying to transition into a new field where they don't have a lot of experience yet?
I would say, so there are different types of resumes. There's that chronological resume that you've got that is all just in order, no gaps, anything. But there's also a functional resume where you're obviously changing careers or recently graduating. Like I kind of mentioned before, you're going to want to put what you've done in the meantime. Even if there are gaps, okay, well, what were you doing at that point? What have you done that makes it relatable to this position? So definitely don't beat yourself up if you have a gap, or if there's gaps, don't be worried about it. Just make sure you have those value adds, either certifications, trainings, anything that you've done, maybe even virtually, add that to your resume just so that it's there.
Yeah, I agree. You just got, like, even if you weren't working at that time, you can explain why. I've had quite a few folks say they were taking care of their parent for 2 years and they had to do this or whatever. But as long as they have their cert still active or whatever, they should be good to go.
Perfect. Does anybody else have any questions? I'm not seeing any other questions come out there. Oh, okay. Elvis. How do you view applicants that are trying to change companies within the first 1 to 2 years after the retirement?
I'm sorry, what? What is the question? What do you mean?
How do you view applicants that are trying to change companies after, only a year or two on their current job after they retire? So they get out of the military service, they stick with a company for, a year, sometimes less, 2 years, and then are trying to change. How do you view them? And do you have any problems with that?
Well, most of my people that I'm hiring usually only stay about a year because it's a contract, maybe for only a short time or whatever. And we would like, if it's a 3-year contract, we would prefer for them to stay 3 years, but if they want to grow and go somewhere else, they have to do what they have to do. It is nice for us to see at least somebody at a company at least for a year or 2 years or longer.
Yeah, I would definitely say that at this day and age, you're not going to find many individuals that have been with companies for even 6, 8, 10 years anymore. That's kind of a thing of the past. We're treating opportunities more so as stepping stones now to be able to land a position and build our hands-on training in specific avenues, and then we can eventually move up. We're growing and evolving now instead of feeling stuck in where we are. So it's more red flaggy to me when I see 3 months, 4 months and under. If it's not a contracted role, that's more like, well, what's going on here? If it's like at that point, super job hoppy, that raises a red flag. But I think if you stay with a company for a year and find another opportunity that you want to grow into, by all means.
Thanks, Caitlin. Thanks, Lynn. Joshua, has a question. Do you prefer a basic all text resume with no special formatting or one that stands out more?
I prefer a resume that lists at the very top that what your clearance. I heard your doggy with the clearances, and if it's active, what your certs are right away, and then going into your chronological where your experience, because that's the first thing we have to look for. Quite frankly, is did they meet the requirements, and then we go into experience.
Yes, we are way less worried about graphic design
Yeah.
than than what we want the meat of.
Yes.
We want the meat of your resume. If you've got like pictures, tables, columns, that's also not going to receive well with the applicant tracking system. That is not very ATS friendly at all. So having a basic chronological resume that's targeted to the positions that you are looking to apply for, that's what you need to do.
Also, you're right. And also being specific, like I said earlier, if it says, you have Cisco experience, CCNA, and the date, when I talk to the person, they're like, oh, no, I'm just taking a class. That's like tricking the recruiter. And they are, because we have to find out that we have to verify those. We can't pass anyone through. I mean, we'll get in big trouble for that. They'll kick you right out of the job if they find out something wasn't certified. So you might as well be upfront and honest right away.
Just like how you guys want very cut and dry job descriptions, we also want a pretty cut and dry resume that it has specifics, dates, and then qualitative and quantitative data when you're like bullet pointing out your experience. We don't need a paragraph to read. We need to either
bullet points are good.
Bullet points are perfect.
We like bullet points because
bullet points, numbers,
like reading novels all day long for us. Think about it. If you're doing everything in paragraph, or we're kind of, oh my goodness, and we're going to miss things because of that sometimes.
Yep.
So the bullet point is the best way. I agree.
Just kind of like the Hire Heroes resumes that you received. Anybody else have any more questions? Justin, looks like you got your hand up. You want to go ahead and take yourself off mute and ask the question?
Yeah, hi, I would type this, I'm driving. But concerning the bullet point resumes and stuff like that, that makes a lot of sense. However, when it comes time for interview, like for example, if I have a whole bunch of bullet points and then like a 4 or 5 page electronic resume, obviously I'm going to condense that down and do something a little bit more manageable. Is there any advice on like how to condense that down, like sacrifice various things for revenue's sake, or go to like a column format, something along those lines?
So I don't know if you heard that, Caitlin or Lynn, but basically,
I think I got it.
None of it.
What's that?
I didn't hear any of that because it sounds like he was in a car.
Yeah. So
I think he was talking about condensing resumes.
Resume filled with experience right now. How does he go ahead and cut that back down to, the industry standard, which is 2 pages? Any tips or advice for him to do so?
Tailoring your resume, getting that job description and relating your experience to what is on the job description, as well as using those buzzwords and keywords. Because a lot of other opportunities, especially any position that you have in the past that is not relevant to that specific role, past 10 years, let it go. It does not need to be on your resume. You can speak to it if you're asked, but on a resume, 10 years, a lot of times is the cutoff if that experience is not relevant to the opportunity that you are applying for.
I agree. When we're looking for a senior person, they're looking for 10 plus years experience. So we don't need to know what you did 20 years ago. Like she said, just speak to that, but try to keep it within 2 pages. And because it's a lot for recruiters to be reading all these day in and day out, and we don't want to miss the important stuff.
Yeah, and sometimes these ATS systems also kick back resumes or anything that's sometimes over 3 pages, Justin, depending on the employer. So, you know, I would definitely try to make sure that you're sending a 2-page resume at max.
Mhm. And it will also, if you've got the columns and pictures and tables and things, it'll come off on a really funny format, because when you're submitting your resume through and it goes through an ATS system, a lot of that stuff gets left behind and it doesn't go through. So your pretty resume isn't even showing up on our end. So also keep that in mind. We want it very clean and readable.
Thank you both. Anybody else have any questions? Got about 9 minutes remaining.
Word and PDF. Saw that from Carol Miller.
Carol
Yeah.
Williams.
Looks like, yeah. So is it recommended to submit the resume via PDF or Word format, or is that situational?
Doesn't matter to me.
Yeah. I think Word is preferred, but PDF also works as well. Anything other than those, I don't think I wouldn't take a chance on it.
Thank you. Anybody else? Looks like Barbara. Go ahead and unmute and fire away.
Hi, everyone, and thanks for meeting with us today. I have a very basic question. I too have a long resume. However, I've diminished it down to 2 pages. But what I was wanting to know, with all the resume changes and trends and updates, I was wondering if you all could provide us with a sample resume, that how you all would like to see the resume, so that we can get in line with what specifically your companies are looking for.
What is your specialty?
So that's pretty much it.
Are you in IT, Barbara? What are you in? What is your?
Yeah, I'm actually into project management, commercial real estate. So I'm the person behind the scenes to build out the 5G networks. So I'm not a coder or anything like that. We actually do the zoning, permitting.
Lost you. We lost you.
With the project managers to actually manage the project from initiation to closing, and we work with finance.
Do you have a PMP certification?
Construction. We do work with IT, but as mentioned with the resume, that's my strongest secure format. Maybe I can drill mines down.
You have a PMP certification?
Certification probably for about 14 opportunity. No, I don't.
Barbara, you're coming in a little broken and distorted here. I think the premise of the question was, you know, is there any way that you could share a potential resume format?
I started the program.
I think a lot of people see fancy resumes online and
PMP certification.
You have
I'm
a
sorry, I
PMP?
can't hear.
Do you have a PMP certification? Barbara?
I think now she's muted.
She does have a.
Can you hear me?
Now we can. Yeah.
I apologize. I do not have a PMP currently. I'm working on it. So
Well, there are definitely
Can
resume
you
templates
hear
to
me?
send you. But I guess bottom line is don't get fancy with your resumes. We really do just want a very chronological, readable document. So any other formats that you see online, it's not ATS friendly, and it's just kind of, I mean, you can have it as a pretty resume to take with you if you're going in for an interview or things like that. You can have multiple types of resumes, but specifically for when you're applying online, you're going to want that readable document.
Barbara, I would put on there project manager in the year or time frame you're going to get that PMP certification.
Mm-hmm.
Because maybe we don't have a job for you now, and then January of next year, I pull up your name based on the criteria, and I'll read it, and it will say expected to get her PMP certification in November
Yeah.
2021. Then I'll call you like, hey, did you get that certification? Because, you know, we were looking for someone like you.
Okay.
Barbara,
Okay.
I don't know if you're, you know,
Okay.
this,
Thank you. Sorry for the
definitely if
communication
you are a
issue.
spouse or military member, you are eligible to receive a Hire Heroes USA resume. And our resumes currently have over 52,000 people hired utilizing that resume in almost every industry. In fact, the two ladies that you're speaking to today directly work with, and they also utilize our resume format. So we definitely recommend that you get with a Hire Heroes USA transition specialist and get a resume formatted because our formats do work. Looks like
Okay.
we have a question from Kenneth. After submitting an application, approximately how long after should we follow up via email or LinkedIn?
Honestly, LinkedIn immediately. As soon as your resume goes through and you click apply, you're there pretty instantly. So if you wanted to try and follow up as soon as a half hour from then, go ahead. But I usually try and tell people 1 day is probably a good baseline. But then if you haven't gotten in contact with anyone, I would definitely try back in day 3 and 5.
Thanks, Caitlin. Lynn, do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, yes. So my jobs, I don't have probably as many jobs posted as Caitlin does, because Caitlin sounds like a much bigger company. So when I see somebody's applied right away, I have to get with them. I have more, you know, I don't have as many resumes like she does to have to check through. So I respond right away. I'll let them know that I received it, or if it was missing something, or call them, you know, for a phone interview right away.
Thanks, Lynn. Joshua, yes, we did kind of go over that question, but yeah, you want to make sure that you're sticking to 2 pages max and making sure that you're only going back 10 years from the current time frame. So anything past 10 years is kind of not usable anymore. Just go ahead and remove that from your resume unless there is you are applying for a job on USA Jobs.
Well, thank you, everybody. I'm sorry about running out of time here. And I just want to say thank you all guest speakers, Caitlin, Lynn, John, thank you all. And just remind everyone, if you have registered for this webinar, you will receive a recording link of this webinar and a short survey. Please take a survey, let us know how we did and what other future topics you would like to see. That being said, thank you all, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you, Elvis. Bye,
Good
Kate.
luck to everyone.
Thanks, Lynn.
Good luck.